tell us yet what show he was working on? Or do we have to wait? Because he's not doing filming anymore, or in production. Static J is from Ireland, and he is an amazing person. And he went on a hiatus for like 6 months.
I don't know, a long time.
And went off to Croatia, I think it was.
Yes, he was in Croatia.
And he was
helping in a movie.
Yes, and he was absolutely forbidden because of legalities and stuff to talk about what show he was actually working on, and we're dying to find out what it is.
He would just tell us what he wasn't working on.
Right.
Sounds like Game of Thrones to me.
It was not.
It was not Game of Thrones. It was something else, and it's that. I think that's what's even more maddening now, and how that goes. Hey, folks, welcome. It's Andy HeadHardHat and wife Amy, and we have special guests. We got Cully Long with us. And welcome to the pre-show for the GeoSnippits Reboot Podcast. Yeah, we were just kind of talking. Static J's in the chat room, and he is our celebrity from Ireland. And we are still trying to find out from him what show he worked on earlier in the year. And is he able to say? We're still looking.
He hasn't told me yet.
Yes. So we're gonna have to find out.
Mm-hmm.
And.
I may be sworn to secrecy, so I may not be able to tell you.
Oh, that is not even fair. That is not fair.
If he tells me I can't tell, then I can't tell.
But I'm your husband.
He's my friend.
Oh, well, so
I don't know. I don't know. I got nothing after that.
There you go.
I got nothing. Right. Star Wars. I don't think it's Star Wars in Croatia.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I don't know.
They film all over.
They do. They're literally all over. I just saw the absolute toy that I want.
So you're going to tell me it's 7 years?
Commitment? Really?
You're going to tell me it's 7 years? That's not right.
Wow.
That's just wrong. You're not a very good friend.
There is a toy out now that I just saw today that I absolutely have on the absolute top next to an actual real-life lightsaber. They now have, it's the prototype is made, they're making the actual toy itself. It's literally like a 4-inch tall workable BB-8. The brand new droid that's coming out in the new Star Wars movie. And it's interactive. It's a it's an actual little robot that works with your phone and can work on its own.
That's got you written all over it.
It is so cool. So yeah, I looked at that today and I'm like, oh, I still want that.
I do.
I don't care. 2-3 million. Just give me. Here's my money. Take it.
Actually, Tesla has come out with a new car.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Does it fly?
No.
Well, I'm not interested.
It goes about 200 miles on one charge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah.
Guess how much it is going to be in.
And who made it? Tesla?
Tesla.
Oh God. The prototype's probably $4 million.
Nope.
What?
35,000.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
That's going to be going out on the market with.
In a couple of years.
Yeah, 200 miles? That would actually be physically worth it for me to do that.
Yeah. I thought, that is my next car.
Yeah, because having a car where, you got a range of 70 miles, that's like going to the store.
I know. I was like, I could get to work and back, maybe. I'd have to stop and charge up on the way home.
Have you driven around the the RPTs with the, what did I say, RPT? The
RTP.
RTP for around Raleigh?
Yeah, no, I could get maybe to work and maybe home.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
they charge in between.
They always, I don't know if it's a hybrid where it's got a little bit of gas engine behind it, and most of it works electric.
It's an electric car. You can get 200 miles off of one charge.
That would be worth it.
That would be worth it. I would buy that.
Yes.
And it's a Tesla, so Emily, our dog, is not allowed in it.
Yes, we would not have the dog, but 35,000. That's
not bad.
That's not bad.
I could say I own a Tesla.
I have been born way too late is my problem, because I was promised when I was a kid of.
You were born too early.
Yes, and that's what I meant.
Yeah.
And When I was promised as a kid, I was promised flying cars, and not happening yet. Not the way I want. And if you look at Back to the Future, which is having this week, or I think it is the 30-year anniversary for it, that they literally, I saw something, I think it was in Facebook, and they said they got to remake Back to the Future 2 because when Marty goes to September 15th, 2015, instead of having flying cars, you have people just looking at their
cell phones being offended and everything.
Yes, I think that's interesting. Interesting.
I just read a Neil Gaiman short story about that very thing, about why don't we have jetpacks and flying cars. It was all about this guy who goes around uninventing things that he doesn't like.
Oh, wow.
He found the flying cars too annoying, so he uninvented them so that we don't have them anymore.
You can blame him.
At the end of the story, he uninvents smartphones.
Oh, well, that wouldn't necessarily be a
Oh,
bad thing.
that's bad. My life is now destroyed. How am I going to remember anything without a smartphone? A smartphone.
I see you've been taking the same linguistic class as I have recently.
See, you have to get away from me now.
Yeah, it's amazing. It really is. I mean, how dumbed down we have become just over a simple little Borg implant.
This has everything. It has my life.
Yeah. Well, we were watching the NASA movies not too long ago, and I'm saying you realize your smartphone, heck, most calculators had more computing power than they did when they went to the moon.
Way more.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, holy cow.
I can't handle but so much, but yeah, it has all my stuff in it.
Yes.
I just figured out how to do a screenshot. Isn't that sad?
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, woo!
Welcome to the 20th century.
No, I'm like, yeah, go me.
It's amazing. I mean, I know I've done it myself. You sit there, you leave the house, you drive a block and a half down the road, you realize you forgot your phone. So what do? You turn around and you go back to your house and you pick it back up. I mean, people, honestly, at one time or another actually went from the East Coast to the West Coast and back without one.
Oh,
They had paper maps that you had to fold.
I called you from work and asked you to bring me my phone because I left it at home.
Yes. What a society.
Yes.
Just saying.
Well,
anyways, folks, welcome to the Reboot pre-show, and we have our special guest. We have Cully Long, who is authored How to Puzzle Cache, and we are going to do something a little bit different. Now, Cully wrote the book, 2 years ago now? Has it been, Cully, that it's been out?
No, it's only been on the market for 9 months.
Is that all it is? For some reason I'm thinking it's longer than that, because you did a lot of podcasts when you did that. Promoting the book because it is a phenomenal book, and we kind of thought we'd like to do something a little different. I wanted to do something Cully wanted to do instead of us just demanding on tell us how to solve puzzles. I thought what would you like to do? And Cully said, well, why don't we kind of talk about how to create puzzle caches?
There's a concept.
And that is awesome.
How do we make them?
Yeah, or even come up with ideas.
More puzzles, more happy Cully.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. So, folks, if you're watching this live, and you're in our chat room, we're going to turn on the question and answer section on the YouTube session. If you've got a question for Cully tonight, please write in. Wife Amy, as usual, is taking over the chat room and making sure everything's hunky-dory that way. And she'll be able to bring questions in when it comes to that. And also we'll have them on the question and answers. And she's already playing with her watch. So I'm just saying. I just say, why don't we just cut right to the Matrix, put the plug in the back of the neck, and go.
I'm ready.
I am. I'm all set.
If you want to give me an implant, I will be the first one in line.
I'm telling you.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we're all going to be microchipped anyway, so.
Well, yeah.
I will be the experimental monkey. I am ready.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah, I need some upgrades. I'm just saying.
Don't get me started.
Yes. And that's how this goes, being married for 20, 30 years like we have.
Or two.
Or two. Wow. Yeah. But yeah, it's really interesting, all the different things when it comes to puzzle caches in and of themselves. Now, Cully, what's your educational background? Do you have PhDs in certain things? I mean, seriously.
I have a master's degree, but it's in theater.
Well, there you go.
My primary education was in graphic design in my undergrad years, and then I went into theater and did that as a grad student. And I primarily do graphic design and set design for theater.
Oh, awesome.
So
that's great. Now, that would be the last person I would think that would be able to get into this. And literally, because for me, I'm kind of more on the okay, don't laugh. I'm more on the creative side as opposed to the mathematical analog side. And I look at puzzle caches, I shake my head and go, I don't get it. So that behavioral thing that's in the brain is different for me, and for somebody to have, I would have expected an engineer. Even W.V. Tim said the same thing. He's not an engineer, but the man's a genius when it comes to gadgets type things.
It's all about, like, I'm really good with spatial recognition and pattern recognition. That sort of thing is sort of where my mind sets up. So the pattern recognition really comes in handy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I tend to do well with logical thinking, which does tend to go into the patterns as well. And there's some things where I can pull stuff out of a pattern or an equation or something like that, and it'll click. But some of the concepts, coming up with the ideas for the concepts. I don't know what you are pulling from for this, but holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the great things about puzzle caches, is that there's such a variety of things. It's just like regular caches. There's a huge variety of things, and what might be incredibly difficult for you is going to be easy for me, and vice versa, just because of what we're bringing to the table, things that we might know. I, for instance, struggle sometimes with the caches that I come across that have audio files that you have to, isolate a track and listen to a specific track or reverse it or something like that, and you would probably be able to do that sort of thing instantly. And it takes me a little bit of time to figure that out.
Yeah, and it's interesting because sometimes I'll have similar puzzles. One, I'll just look at it, latch on it, something very similar to it, and I'm like, deer in the headlights. So it's really interesting on how just certain cues will kick off and you hit them. When you start going into interlacing graphics and some of those, the algorithms and things like that, come on.
I'm out.
It's like we have around us with Raleigh-Durham area, we've got 6 major colleges that you can throw a rock at each other, and a lot of the professors here are all into geocaching. So they, for their students, for part of their curriculum, they have them go out, find geocaches based off of some scientific or mathematical situation that you've got to resolve to find the geocache. I don't got a chance. I don't have a clue for
there's
stuff
a bunch
like
of regional stuff. I always use San Francisco as the best example of this because there's all of those tech people in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah.
And you start looking at those puzzles out there, and they're all like computer science. And I looked at a puzzle in San Francisco that was basically Java code, and you had to debug the Java code.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers of the coordinates were the numbers of lines that had mistakes in the Java code. It's like, I don't know anything about Java code. I will never. Whereas someone else could have, look at that and just snap right through it.
Yeah, some developer is going to go, oh, is that it? Okay, this one's easy. Yeah. No, I actually have to, and it's funny, I was talking to Scott Berkson as a side note with that. I literally, when I go out for puzzle caches, I have several geocachers that I have as friends who are teachers. and I've got to take them along to show me how to figure out the mathematical formulas to figure this out, because I was not an algebra fun person, so it's like
no, that was the enemy.
Yeah, math was.
I know we were just talking about dependence on apps, but there is an app that will do that for you.
Oh yeah.
That basically you build the equation into the app and say that okay, A equals 7, B equals 6, or whatever, and it will give you the
GCC does that. The
coordinates.
geocaching calculator does that fun stuff. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would be lost. But it's so many different ways that just in, not even getting into the different, decoder type things that you can get into, but just to have somebody say, okay, if you figure out in this particular paragraph, the 8th word has X number of letters in it, and the 9th word in the next paragraph is the association, to be able to even figure out where to look, where to start for a particular one, for me is a huge thing to learn. Because there's so many variances, so many different ways of doing things. Where do you know where to look? So that's the kind of stuff that blows my mind. I don't know where to start, and I'm wondering, is that something that's common? And we can talk about this when we actually start the show in about 12 minutes. But when somebody is new to geocaching or just wanting to solve puzzles in general, there's got to be some key things to look for to even know where to look.
Well, I mean, one of the great things that we have that a lot of other puzzle pursuits don't have is that 95% of the time you're looking for some sort of number.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start looking at like the escape the room puzzles, or there's like the MIT puzzle pursuit, or those sort of things, you have no idea what your end goal is. Like, it could be literally anything.
Yeah.
A song, a phrase, a single word. It could be anything in the world. But we have at least that benefit of knowing that, well, we're looking for a number. It's in some ways. Now there is there's one of the geocheckers that will accept a word, and that's getting more popular now, so that you're not really looking for numbers. You can put in a keyword and it'll give you the coordinates. I forget which one of the checkers does that.
Yeah, I'd have to look. But I mean, even with that, even with wording decoders, where you use a keyword to map out the algorithm to figure out, to decode whatever you're doing with that, for me, trying to figure out the keyword is an issue. So it's, sometimes they don't blatantly say, hey, by the way, if you use the word, Fred Flintstone, that it's going to help you out figure this out.
That's unfortunately, there are a lot of badly written puzzles in the world.
Yes.
And I would put that into the category of a poorly written puzzle. I mean, very few puzzles are just going to flat out give you the keyword and say, right, oh, the keyword is, but there should be crumbs.
Yes,
that you
buy
can
me a
follow
clue.
to pick it up. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And I've seen some things that I've just been like, once I did figure it out, like, took me 3 days to figure out how to get to that. Like, where was the logical leap here that I'm missing,
Yes,
that was supposed to get me to that in particular? Like,
yeah.
Oh, all right, well, finally figured it out at least.
Yeah. No, it's like I brought up
Wow.
Scott Burks, because he says the same thing. He's probably found, I think he's past 16,000 geocaches already, but, out of the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of puzzle caches he's found, he's figured out like 3. He's always had his girlfriend with him, figuring them out that way, because some people, it just doesn't register. And I need the puzzle, puzzle guide for dummies, because sometimes I need to buy a bigger clue than most.
I mean, that's basically what I wrote.
Yeah,
so,
that's great. That is great. Before we go in with that, Cully, how would you like to do this as far as with giving away a book or 3 with the prizes over the next set of shows? Oh, I have no shame when it comes to that.
No, you don't, do you?
Do you want me to just send you my address and we can go it that way?
I can send them to you, or I can send them directly to. Most people just have me send them directly to the winner.
Why don't we have him? Yeah,
Okay.
you can send them directly to the people.
Because I can just purchase it, and that way we only pay shipping once.
Okay. Sounds good.
Idea.
All right, we'll work that out, and we'll probably give them away over the next couple of weeks, and go that way. How many would you like to donate? Since I got you on the spot in front of all these people.
Wow, dude, what is your problem?
Well, if he says one, it's one. I mean, that's how it is.
All right. I'm like, geez, man.
We like prizes. What can I say?
Yeah,
That's what we're going for.
I typically do one of the spiral bound. If you would accept the flat bound, I would do 2 of that. But most people prefer the spiral bound. So.
Okay, that sounds good. We will do a spiral bound then. We'll give it away next week.
Okay.
That way we can advertise it.
All right.
I go for anything I can. It doesn't matter.
He has no shame. He really doesn't.
You should see us when we're at a major event.
Of course, I really can't say anything.
I was going to say this, taking home a bucket full of stuff.
Bring that up. Yeah, sorry, Aaron.
You don't know what you can get until you ask. You know?
Exactly.
Well, I didn't ask.
No, but you flashed those green eyes to him and gave that please look, and next thing you know, you've got geocoins and all sorts of good stuff. And then we have prizes for the show. That's good.
I'm sorry, I don't see where your problem is.
I do not. Hey, folks! By the way, if you're coming in early, oh, my Hey Cortana just went off. I hate when that happens. I can't even say it because it shows up. Windows 10.
Yeah, I can say Hey Cortana to my computer, and his goes off.
Yeah, so that's
mine doesn't even listen to me.
It's all part of the fun. So, anyways, folks, if you're coming in late to the praise show, we've got special guest and author Cully Long coming in for how to puzzle cache, and we're already drilling them for information on how to do some puzzle caches and what to look for, and this is going to be a really good show for you tonight. Some good stuff. The prize that we're giving away this week, I dug deep into the Cache Stash and came out with a really cool geocoin. Do I want to know?
They're on your side.
Oh, they're on my side for the prizes. Yeah, that's how the gang in the chat room are going tonight. Speaking
leave him alone. He's going for the prizes.
That's right. We get stuff. Yeah. What we're giving away tonight, by the way, folks, this is awesome. This is the last one that we have. I found it digging around looking for prizes, and this is from coinsandpins.com.
Hey, Aaron.
And this is the last of the 2014 Compass coins.
Yeah, they really are gorgeous.
These were beautifully done. They're gorgeous. This one's got a red enamel background, oriental theme with gold. So nice, pretty gold all the way around. It's gorgeous, gorgeous geocoin. Last one's going tonight as the prize, so just saying. Good stuff going out. If you have questions for Cully, please write them up in the chat room if you're watching this live. If you're watching this recorded, you're not going to get as much interaction, I'm just saying. And also,
he won't talk as much to you if you're
it's
listening
just
to
how
this
it is
on the replay.
Yeah. But also, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you click on the little section in the front, you have a question and answer section that you can put in there as well. Wife Amy is going to be watching the chat room as usual. In between her laughing and giggling and talking with you on there, we'll see if we can actually get some information into the show itself.
Yeah, Cully, most of what you'll see me
is at a 45-degree angle.
Like this.
Yeah, because that's how that works.
Yeah. How can I see the question stream?
If you want to go to geosnippits.com.
Okay.
And towards the top menu section is a part that says GS Reboot Podcast.
Okay.
And if you click on that, you're going to see the stream just like everybody else is out there. They have questions that are... the chat room is just below the video.
Aww.
Though you might want to pause the video because it does take a lot of bandwidth, but you'll be able to read the chat room.
All right.
And if you click on the little X, it'll bring up the screen for the questions as well. So either way, we'll be able to get them to you so that you can see what those are.
Static J.
Okay, well, I mean, if you're handling it, then
that way it's a lot easier. Yeah, we'll be able to.
Okay, cool.
Told Static J to kiss the baby for us.
Oh, absolutely.
He said, baby, she's 15 months old.
I was going to say, she's getting older
tornado
now.
with 2 legs. Like, oh, boy.
Yeah, she's not the little girl anymore.
Yeah, but she's in everything. Aw.
That's awesome.
They're all getting big.
All right, I'm sorry. I got caught in the chat room for a second. All right, good stuff. All right, folks, we got about 3 minutes, and we're going to start the show. Cully, if you got any last second question, I'd be more than glad to answer, but this is pretty much it.
Nope, I think I'm good to go.
Awesome. I think this will work very well. And we will go from there. Yeah, so tons of stuff. We could go all night when it comes to it, but we'll try to concentrate on the main stuff that we have in the show notes and go from there, because there is classes upon classes upon classes that can go out of this in content when it comes to puzzle caches. All right. What's that?
Apparently she's hogging his GPS R2.
Oh, is he already?
I'm like at 15 months old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, we got somebody from some information from Pugach tonight.
Yeah.
About something very similar. Oh yeah. So this should be interesting. That'll come up in a minute or two.
So some of our viewers are watching football.
Okay.
While
is it
doing this.
football or is it football?
No, it's actually football.
Oh, okay. It's Thursday night.
Yeah, it's the American football. Some of them are doing genealogy while watching us.
They have us on the big screen. I like.
No,
when
he's
that
not
happens.
He's not Chromecasting tonight.
Oh, he's not Chromecasting tonight.
No, Bing's not Chromecasting.
Okay.
And then Skip's doing genealogy while he's watching us.
Yes. And we got geocachers literally from all around the world, so
And
that's going to be good.
They all say hello to Cully.
Yep.
And Static J's going to bed because he has to go to work. He's in Ireland, so it's very, very early there.
Yeah, it's like 2 in the morning.
So,
no, Ireland 3 in the morning, I think. 3:30. Yep, good stuff. All right, folks, we got about another minute and a half, and we will get going. And Cully, basically what will happen is we've got you're more than welcome to talk through any part of the show. Don't feel that you're interrupting or whatever. Just go ahead and jump right in with whatever discussion's going on at the time. We'll get to the part with talking with you after that point where there'll be a clean break, and we'll tell you when that is. Okay. Where we go into a lot more of giving away our prizes and stuff like that. If you want to stick around at that point, you're more than welcome to. If you want to take off, you're more than welcome to. I mean, this gets long after an hour show, so whatever you want to do, that's fine, and you're more than welcome.
Taz turned off the Cowboys game.
Wow, Taz. Well, he's a California girl now. Our guy.
Dude.
Actually, I think he's still in Texas for another week. He's taken off for California to live. So yes, interesting. All right, guys, I think we are about ready. Sit back, relax, get your favorite libation, your favorite snack. I'm going to get this up here, and I think we are just about ready. All right, sit back and enjoy the show, folks. This is going to be really, really good. You got information, you're heavy breathing.
No, Taz has stressed me out now.
Oh, geez.
Like, come on, Taz, turn it back on.
Here we go. Well, hello, and welcome. Welcome to the GeoSnippits Reboot Podcast. I'm your host, Andy HeadHardHat Smith, and I'm here with wife Amy. And welcome. We have got a great show for you tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun. It is September 3rd, 2015, and in the next hour or so, both co-host Amy the HeadHardHatress and I will bring you some interesting information and tidbits about the game, the sport, yes, the obsession known as geocaching. And this week it's not so much geocaching. Once again, it has been hot. We get one of the nice things about hosting and co-hosting with the Geocaching Podcast is a lot of the guys are spread out all around the United States. We've got them in the Northwest. We've got them in the South. We're over here. We've got Scott Burks in Chicago. And the weather has been kind of interesting because they're getting a lot of sway. Like for Chicago, it was in the 60s last week. Oh, we'd kill for that. And then it's back up into the 90s. And here we have been in the upper 80s, low 90s. Actually, it was like 95 yesterday. So it's just been incredibly hot. Makes it difficult for going out geocaching. Now, Cully, our special guest, Cully Long. Cully, whereabouts are you?
New York City.
Okay, New York City. That's right. So how's the weather been actually over there?
We tend to be in like mid 80s for most of the week, which is great, except it's old New York City apartment building, so I have no air conditioning in anything. But which can get a little stifling sometimes, but it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, we would kill for mid 80s. I mean, it's when you get to the point where
we've had mid 80s, but we get the
100% humidity.
Well, you guys get humidity too, but it's not.
Yeah.
But it's so I mean it's not.
Yeah, we get the wet blanket south type stuff, so it's just.
Well, I grew up just south of you guys, so I'm used to that.
Oh, all right. Well, good.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Blacksburg, South Carolina, which is like just south of Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So needless to say, it's been hot for us, and we haven't been able to go out and do much geocaching. Though I did have something happen that was kind of unique, and I'll let you guys in on it. Scott Burks and I were actually mentioned in the Wall Street Journal. So I mean that doesn't happen every day, so that's kind of cool. The actual article, and thank you so much for everybody that's found it and actually sent us for us to find out where it actually is. The link to the article will be in the show notes. It's a little bit interesting when it comes to the way that they went for it, and you can tell just by the title. The title is "In See Something, Say Something Era, Geocachers' Hidden Treasures Set Off Alarms."
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of went for...
No, there's a banana in the tree, blow it up!
Yeah, exactly. So it gets into a little more... I think they were trying to get a little more of the shock value of the negativity stuff with geocaching when somebody thinks it's a bomb. Yeah. Scott Burks and I talked to Peter Loftus, who wrote the article. We talked to him separately, and we both stressed how this is not the norm, that geocaching is a fun family activity, and they were originally talking about coming down to either Chicago or here in North Carolina to actually go around, and we were going to show them some of the very, very cool geocaches that we know of so that they actually can see, hey, this is actually what geocaching is all about. Unfortunately, that never came to fruition, but the article came out. It's a good read. But you can kind of just tell right off the bat that they tended to want to go for more of the, I don't want to say sensationalism part of it, but more of the negative, and that kind of did not rub well with me.
Yeah.
When it happened. But, again, how many times do you get mentioned in the Wall Street Journal? So we'll have the article in the show notes. And
it's always amazing to me that this only seems to happen in the small towns, like the bomb squad scares.
Yeah.
Like we've had one bomb incident that I know of in New York City. I've lived here for 10 years and geocached here for 10 years, and once do I know of that there's been some sort of bomb thing. And basically, even with that, they didn't even call out the bomb squad. The guy just walked up and picked it up and was like, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And they
New Yorkers though.
they made him remove the cache. Like the cache isn't there anymore. But they're one of the biggest parks in Brooklyn had a literal mortar tube in it for years before anybody complained about it.
Yeah.
And it's like if that's gonna get by in Brooklyn, why is Des Moines having bomb scares? I don't
or sprinkle water wherever and like you said, the banana in the tree, or
yeah,
oh my
that
gosh,
freaked people out. I thought, people really?
5 miles in a hiking trail in the middle of woods. Oh my goodness, because we really want to blow up that
pine
fauna and flora. Anywho, but anyways, that's how that goes, and so we're in there. Wife Amy, why don't you tell about our brand new ad sponsor that we have?
Yeah, it's an award-winning, best-selling author, Michelle, and I'm going to butcher her last name. Wiedenbenner.
Yep.
Okay. She wrote Cache a Predator,
right?
Which is a geocaching mystery. I cannot wait. Michelle is also going to have a children's geocaching book coming out in the beginning of 2016, which I am also very excited about.
So if you're interested in purchasing Cache a Predator, actually, if you go back a couple of years ago, Dave and I actually had Michelle on the show when the book first came out.
Now, Dave, that shows you how long it. Yeah,
right. But it's a great book. It's a great read. Definitely for adults. And so this is a great murder mystery that, for Miss Psychology here, that you might very much get into, and it's a good thing. And yes, geocaching's based on it, but she's also writing a children's how-to book for geocaching that hopefully will be coming out about the beginning of 2016, and that will be excellent. So we'll have her on again and talk about that as well.
And what I want to do is get it for our nephew.
Yeah, absolutely.
And see if he likes it.
Absolutely. So good stuff. So congratulations to Michelle. Thank you so much as being one of our ad sponsors. And you can go to any of our websites under the HeadHardHat Productions.
Wow.
That's all right.
You've seen too many thwackers.
Anyways, any of our websites, GeoSnippits, GeoSnippits Reboot, Geocaching Podcast, my blog, any of them, and you can see the graphics to click on and go into purchasing their books. So excellent, excellent stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so you may say to yourself, hey, huh?
Our chairs are squeaky.
Well,
move over.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So thank you.
See how well that works, Cully?
Like I said, 20 years of marriage. That's how that goes. So you say, we want to watch these two goofballs all the time. How do we do that? They're pretty cool. They're fairly funny. Andy's kind of goofy looking. How do we get in touch with them? And it's very simple. To watch the live feed and join us in our chat room by going to www.geosnippets.com on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have all of our social media links. Just go to the upper right of any of our websites, and we have connections with all the different social interwebs that you can go into. Also, get us into your Periscope. We're starting to get into that a little bit more. Periscope's kind of a fun little chat that you can go into, but they go through Twitter for that.
And I am going to start doing scope chats.
Okay.
Things.
All right.
Whatever it's
Is that the new buzzword now?
I can't remember what it is.
Whatever it is. If not, we'll make it up like usual.
Yeah, I'm gonna make something up like I always do.
All right. So check those out. Get hooked up with us that way.
I'm gonna start doing them.
And that way you can literally get in touch with us just about any particular way that you can, including passenger pigeon, because they're
passenger
extinct.
pigeon.
Yeah,
I don't think you can ride pigeons.
No, they're extinct.
Oh, they're extinct.
Yeah, carrier pigeons work better though.
Yes, and I think that's actually what you meant to say.
Yes, but I'm trying to hold off because they're fatty, and I don't
fatty?
want. They're not good for eating.
No.
So I'm just saying, don't send the pigeons anymore.
Yeah.
Anyways, we digress. Finally, we have our voicemail line where you can call in your comments, your questions, your suggestions by calling 919-341-9519, or you don't even have to worry about that. Just go to geosnippets.com or geosnippetsreboot.com, and on the right-hand side of the website, just click on the Send Voicemail tab, and you can use our SpeakPipe version where you can literally get up to 3 minutes to say anything that you would like about the show, comments, questions, things that you want to have included, things that you want to not have included. Just let us know, and you can do that. The cool thing is, when you try it, it's free, and that helps everybody because you don't have to worry about all those toll charges and that. So that helps a lot of things too. All right, we have some viewer feedback from Dano of Team Pugach, and wife Amy can go over that.
Okay. He says, "Hey guys, Dano here. Just wanted to write in and let you know a few things. My first son, First son, Wyatt Oliver, was born on Friday, the 21st at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
Yay! And naturally, we took him geocaching on the way home from the hospital.
Boy, that is starting off soon.
We found as a family GC60MWT, Sonata Dusk's Taco Tuesday.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, apparently. It was a lamp skirt in a taco shop parking lot. And at 33 hours and 11 minutes old, he might just be the youngest geocacher ever. I searched the Groundspeak forums, and it looks like the previous youngest documented was in 2011 at 3 days old.
Wow.
I want to know if Geocaching Headquarters will give me a profile souvenir or not. Secondly, I'm proud to announce I will be on the Cache and Release podcast on Sunday, September 13th, and the show will be a recap of the Road Trip 15 Challenge and all the fun and antics along the way. Take a night off and be the audience for a change. Take care.
Yeah, that's a
Yay!
great show. If you haven't checked out Cache and Release, Michael has a voice for radio. I am just saying, he has got a golden voice.
There he is.
And we got a picture of him up on the chat room.
He's so cute with his little minions.
Yep, and so by all means, check out Cache and Release on September 13th and listen over for Team Pugach with Dano and give it a good listen because it's a good show. All right, let's move on. Quit awing. We gotta continue.
I know, but he's cute.
I'm just saying. All right, our GeoSnippits Reboot Geocaching Poll of the Week. This week was a doozy. This was really good. And if you are hooked in with our Google Plus circles, you can get a hold of this. We also have it on the right-hand side of our website on geosnippets.com. This week's poll was, what would you like to replace geocaching.com's block party? And interesting stuff, and I'll bring this up live. And wife Amy can go through and
all right.
Tell the numbers.
At 17% each was other.
Okay.
And whatever that.
We'll tell a little bit about that
other
in a second.
BP, like block party.
Yes.
You got BP, I think blood pressure. I'm sorry. Like event near geocaching headquarters.
Okay.
At 30%, block party in a new place each year.
Okay.
And at 35%, something new from geocaching headquarters.
Okay. Now, some of the stuff that they had at the bottom, you can kind of say a little bit for what the others were. The main thing, a lot of people said, we don't want another Geo Woodstock kind of thing.
Yeah, we don't need another mega type event.
Which is interesting because that was actually the 30% was a block party someplace else each year. The lowest mark was having another block party type thing near geocaching headquarters. Others was just come up with something else.
Yeah.
So interesting numbers, but the highest was actually having a new something new from Geocaching HQ that's totally different. So that's the numbers that we had from that one. And again, you can go to our website on geosnippets.com and click onto the link, and you can either add your information into this or your comments, and that will be included for all of eternity and is for Google Plus for your different polls that we do each week. So interesting stuff. All right, let's move on from there. That's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on.
Yes.
Tonight's episode is brought to you in part by Cache-Advance.com for all your geocaching needs. Cache-Advance.com. Go find it.
And also by coinsandpins.com, the best place to get custom coins, geocoins, lapel pins, and patches made. Go through our GeoSnippets links and use the promo code HeadHardHat for a 10% discount. And FYI for our listeners, please quit moving it. You can sign up for their newsletter to get notified of when new coins and patches are available for sale. We're also very thankful to all of our sponsors, and if you want to see more of their products, be sure to go to our GeoSnippits websites and simply click on their logos. Not only do you get great deals, but it helps our program as well.
I was just trying to help you, darling.
I know you were.
And it's frustrating when somebody else is moving the notes,
Yes, it
and
is.
you don't expect it, and then you're trying to read it.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Like, stop moving!
Moving on. Yee-haw! Yip. Cully Long, How to Puzzle Cache, GeoSnippits Reboot Podcast, episode 127. All right, I'm going to give you an oil, okay, a URL before she says it. And what you need to do is put down on paper, in ink, howtopuzzlecache.com, all one word. And that's the place you're going to want to go because this book has been out for about 9 or 10 months, Cully?
9 months. I released it like mid-December, like 2 weeks before Christmas, so that's roughly 9 months ago.
And this has been a book that has been flying off the handle, you know, just going.
How about the shelf?
You put your book on what you want to put, and I'll put it on what I want to put. Somehow I was trying to say flapjacks, but I just couldn't get the frying pan in there. I'm just saying. You know, whatever.
My apologies.
It is going quickly.
Put your book on a handle if you want to.
I get backflashes to when I was a kid. I don't even want to go there. Anyways, we have author of How to Puzzle Cache, and Cully, we literally met and talked for about 3 minutes because you were so busy at Geo Woodstock, and it was great. I mean, I'm sorry you ran out of stock so fast, but that just tells you how amazing this book is.
It did. I brought 120 copies. I sold out basically Friday night. When I showed up Saturday morning for like the regular show, I had 20y copies left, and I was completely sold out by 11 a.m. So
Yes.
the rest of the day was me just
Networking.
up and networking and trying to convince people to go buy it from the website, which worked. I mean, I had a lot of website sales that day too. So
That's awesome.
Just so you know, one of our listeners in the chat room says he got the book back in January and he wished he had gotten the spiral bound and loves the book.
That we actually talked about that a little bit. What's the I mean, what is the big difference that geocachers would like the spiral?
Yeah, it's exactly the same book. The only difference is the binding. The spiral bound lays flat. You know, so it's that nice
like a coffee book.
Yeah, I mean, like a notebook. You know, you can open it to both pages and it lays flat, or you can fold it completely back on itself to do that. But that's the really good thing is it can lay flat and lay in front of you because there's a lot of charts and you know, I have like the code charts and alphabet charts, things like that in the back of it to help you with decoding things, and not having that little fold that you get in hardbound books really helps with that, you know, to get it to lay on the table. The regular bound edition you can get from Amazon if you wish, but you can only get the spiral bound edition by coming either directly to me or to one of my resellers. You know, like Land Sharks has it. GeoWorm in Canada has it. There's a couple other. What's the one in Florida? Space Coast has it.
Yeah, Space Coast.
You know, they have the spiral bound edition, but you can only get it from them or from me. Amazon refuses to carry the spiral bound edition. So
really, that's.
There's a lot of speculation why. The best explanation I've heard is that it catches on things when their pullers are pulling things.
Okay, so it's a production thing.
Yeah, so they won't carry the spiral bound edition. If you want the spiral bound edition, you have to come to me.
Okay,
right.
So how do they get in touch with you? Because you don't have, I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming you don't have a brick and mortar store. There's not a brick and mortar store that people can go into to purchase this.
No.
Okay.
It's the book is print on demand.
Okay.
So there's no like stock waiting or anything. If you go to howtopuzzlecache.com, there's a button right there on the front page that says "Get the book." That'll take you directly to the order form, and you can order from there. It comes from a company called Lulu, lulu.com. And the book literally doesn't exist until you order it. When you order it, they print it, bind it up, and put it in the mail. So
awesome.
It's a really interesting process.
Good.
Okay.
Excellent. All right. Well, why don't we start off with a few minutes on the basics, and then we'll dig right into why and how we're going to approach this tonight, because we're kind of coming at it from a different angle. Let's see. We'll start off.
Last question.
Okay. We have a question? I'm sorry.
How is this, Cloak and Dagger would like to know, how is this book different from the GeoCalculator?
Oh, okay.
Okay, so like the geocalculator and that sort of thing basically is just giving you a list of codes and not telling you anything about how to use it. And I do have a section that has a list of codes that's in one of the appendices in the back. But the main meat of the book is there's almost 300 pages of how-to. You know, think of this as like Puzzle Cache for dummies.
Yeah.
I start on chapter 1 with here's what a puzzle cache page looks like. Here are the 10 things on a puzzle cache page that a CO can change. You know, like a lot of people don't realize that COs can put in fake names and fake dates, or put photographs in the gallery or things like that. So I literally start from the basics. Here's the page. Here are the 10 things that a CO can change. And then I move on to chapter 2, which is I think chapter I don't even remember.
That's all right. But I think
I forget what I started with chapter 2.
That's right.
But then there's a chapter on how to approach codes, how to approach puzzles that use music, how to approach puzzles that use math, how to approach a crossword puzzle or a Sudoku puzzle, or so it's much more how to than the calculators or that sort of stuff. If you're familiar with the Puzzle Caching 101 series by E. Peters 02 down in Florida,
I've heard about it. Yes.
Yeah, just think of it as like a really meaty version of those, where I'd like really go in depth with how
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for answering that.
Yeah, it's great to be able to use the geocaching calculator, which is absolutely a must that you should have in your toolkit, especially if you have Android phone, that it only works on that. But if you don't know what a Caesar cipher is or how it works into a puzzle, that's not going to get you anywhere.
Right.
Exactly.
So the book's going to give you a lot more information on like how to identify and how to do that. So I think that's awesome.
Right.
Why don't you give us a little bit, if you would, Cully, some information about yourself as a geocacher and how you became interested in the puzzle aspects of it.
I started out in geocaching back in 2006. I was working at a theater in upstate New York that was literally in the woods. Like, it was way back. We were half an hour from the closest town, which basically consisted of a Walmart, and probably 2 hours from the closest movie theater or anything like that. So there really wasn't a lot to do. And somebody had mentioned geocaching to me just prior to me going to work there. And I went down to that Walmart and bought myself a GPS and was like, all right, I need something to do this summer. Let's see what this geocaching thing is about. And spent the summer doing some geocaches up there. And then there was kind of a gap after that when I went back to, I was still in college at that time. When I went back to college, I wasn't doing it then. So there was about a 6-month gap before I picked it back up and started up again. But I've been going, pretty good since then. And just caching around. Once I moved to New York City, that's when the puzzle aspect really started to pick up, because there's a lot of puzzles in New York City. Even before I came in and started placing puzzle caches, there were a lot of puzzles in New York City. So if you wanted to find anything, you basically had to learn how to deal with the puzzles.
Absolutely.
That, tapped into some interest that I've had. I had subscriptions to Game Magazine when I was a kid and that sort of thing, so I've always been interested in that sort of stuff. And then when I saw that it could intersect, it was a great realization that, I could do both of these things.
That's awesome. And yeah, I've been in one-horse towns where you don't have a horse, and it definitely helps to find an interest to do, and geocaching is great with that. Now, actually, Michael Miller, who is the host to Cache and Release podcast, actually is watching as we're going through, and he had a question. Is there any chance that there will be a Kindle version of the book in the future?
I am working on the Kindle version. I am very close to being done with it. It took me a while to convert it because of, I said in the beginning there's over 500 illustrations in the book. and there's a lot of the format of the book was set up like a textbook, so that there's a main block of text and then sort of a sub, like notes and things in the margin that give you more information about what's in the text and that sort of thing, which doesn't work in Kindle. You know, you can't have that in a Kindle book. So I've had to go back and reformat the whole book and convert that, move those notes into the main text, that sort of thing. So there is a Kindle version coming. I'm working on it. The goal is the end of the summer, so soon.
That's excellent. Really, really good.
Okay.
Go for it.
They will also want to know how you came up with the name Child of Adam.
Well, there's a couple of different references going on in there. One of them is a reference to the X-Men, who are known as the children of the atom.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a play on ATOM versus ADAM. You know, you have a lot of like the sons of Adam sort of thing. So I spun that to a more scientific bent because that's more in line with me. But yeah, so there's a couple of different things going on there.
That's awesome. See, that's why I love with our show, because we get to you not only get into the meat of all the different content that you can talk about the show, we get great questions from our chat room and that for stuff like that. Thank you. That's great. So why don't we get into this now? When Cully first started and did the podcast circuit. That's out there.
There's a circuit?
Yeah, well, it's a very small circuit, but there's a circuit of podcasts out there. A lot of people were very much interested, and I would be just as much as well, in the aspect of how to solve different types of puzzle caches, which is what the show does a lot with that. But
Did I hear a cat?
We got
that would be my cat. It's 9 p.m., which means it's dinner time, and so she's probably going to.
Oh, I'm like, is that our cat?
Because
we have
got
5, so I'm like, it could have been one of ours. I'm sorry.
She's probably going to be asking for dinner several times.
Problem.
No,
I'm sorry.
I just want to make sure it wasn't in my head, actually. So.
That's a whole different subject.
That's a whole different subject.
Yeah, we'll talk about the medication later. Anyways, so what we wanted to do is, instead of dealing with a lot of the aspects of how to solve a puzzle cache, we asked Michael, if you had your own show to do stuff on, what type of aspect would you like to attack and talk about that hasn't been talked about before? And Michael...
Actually, we asked Cully.
Or Cully, I should say. I'm reading Michael here. But what Cully was saying was, why don't we go into how to create geocaches, which is awesome. So I'm going to just let you have the floor, and we'll ask questions as we go, Cully, and go that way, and go how to create a geocache, or any aspect you want to go with that. Go for it.
Well, I mean, one of the things that a lot of people talk to me about when they come in, when I've met people at events or had questions from the audience on some of these shows and that sort of thing, everybody's always about, oh, there's this horrible cacher in my town that has no hints and won't tell me anything about his puzzles and whatever. So, I will be the first to admit that there are a lot of bad puzzles out in the world, and there are a lot of, like, poorly hinted puzzles is the best way to put it. Things that where you're basically just kind of expected to read the CO's mind in a lot of ways.
I don't understand. Why don't they get this?
Yeah, exactly. I like to refer to these as moon logic puzzles, where it's just like, oh, it just sort of floated into my head and I made a puzzle out of it.
It makes sense to me.
Sprinkled fairy
exactly. It makes sense to you, but no
right.
one. So I kind of wanted to talk about how to better some puzzles, how to make things a little bit better. And one of the first things that you really have to ask yourself is, why am I placing a puzzle? Why am I doing this as a puzzle instead of a traditional? And could be a lot of reasons for that. There could be a lot of different things that come to your head as to why you want to create a puzzle, but you kind of have to think about that before you just trip out there and do it, You could just stick that regular traditional in the woods and get just, you'll get more logs if you stick just a regular traditional in the woods.
At least in the United States. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have, in Central Park, I have 19 puzzle caches and 1 traditional, and that traditional gets more logs than the other 19 combined. So, even where in a city where I have lots of foot traffic and a lot of people puzzle caching, it's a much lower number for that. So why are you putting this out as a puzzle? And that will help you figure out, like, is it because I'm trying to bring something interesting to the area? Am I helping people learn something about the area by making this as a puzzle? There's a lot of interesting information out there that since we can't do virtuals anymore, that you could bring in as puzzle information and give that information out that way instead of trying to do it as a virtual or a traditional or that sort of thing. But once you have figured out why is that something that you're interested in, then how do you start building that up and putting that out? Do you guys have any puzzle caches out in the world, or is it
I've had a couple out, but it's a lot more manual figuring out. It's not necessarily thinking puzzles. It's coming up with the right gadget to get. My idea for a lot of puzzle caches is how to figure out how to get the log out of the host. Those type of things, not necessarily as much. Like a
physical puzzle.
Absolutely, and I love those. I don't feel that I'm smart enough to come up with some good ones for the other ones. So maybe I'll get some good suggestions from you tonight as far as what kind of steps would you take to even get into something like that?
Well, again, going back to my stuff, one of the inspirations that I have is that a lot of people don't realize that Central Park here in New York City, the entrances to Central Park are actually named, which is not really common knowledge, because there's no name attached to it. There's nothing there at that entrance that tells you what the name of it is. So you kind of have to know a little bit about the history of the park and the history of things to know why they're named and what they're for. And I started creating a series that it turns out that each of the entrances is named for the profession that was predominant in the neighborhood, the closest neighborhood to that entrance. And so I started creating puzzles that were in some way thematically related to that profession. There's an engineer's gate, so I tried to come up with a puzzle that would be interesting to an engineer, would have something to do with that. There's an inventor's gate, so I tried to come up with a puzzle that had something to do with invention or tied into that thematically. So it helps me, get that information about the gates and why they're named those things out into the world, and it also gave me a theme to start pursuing when I was putting the puzzle together. And it's a lot of different, each one of them is very different from each other, and they've been placed as the ideas have come to me, like as I stumbled across something, it's like, oh, this has to do with buying and selling things. That's perfect for the merchant's gate. Let's put that on the merchant's gate. And so I was able to put that in there. So it's really just an inspiration thing.
Yeah, now a lot of them is it something that you, when you go to it, you just instantly kind of know, you come to the area, you come up with an inspiration of a theme for that particular one? Are there ones that you've had to come across where it's like, I know this would be a good puzzle, don't know what, and you really have to kind of do your research on what it takes to figure out what you're going to do?
Yeah, there's a ton of those. It really just depends. There's certain things that I see it and I immediately know that I can turn that into a puzzle, and then there's other things that I stick in a folder in my browser and it'll percolate for a couple of months, and then I'll realize, oh, I can manipulate it in this way, and it'll turn into a puzzle that way. Something like one of my puzzles is based on a piece of artwork that I saw, actually. And the artwork was, I'm going to kind of spoil one of my puzzles here. The artwork was photographs of books that were stacked so that the titles of the books formed little mini stories.
Oh, neat.
Oh, nice.
And I started thinking, well, how can I turn that, how can I use that, how can I turn that into a puzzle? And that's the basis for one of them is, once you've kind of figure it out, it forms the book titles. It's all about the book titles.
Oh, yeah.
But another thing that's great about puzzles is that aspect of not a lot of people find the puzzles. So if there's an area in your town or whatever that you want to put a cache in there, but you feel like you want less foot traffic, You know, like we've all seen geotrails and areas that have been destroyed by, you know, inadvertently by hundreds and hundreds of cachers going there. A puzzle cache can actually protect an area in some ways, because you can still have the cache there, but it will slow down the amount of traffic that can go into that area, and will sort of satisfy both sides of things. But that's an aspect that not a lot of people think about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting with that too. It depends on regionally where you are, because in the United States, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
You go to Germany,
they love puzzle
and they
caches.
go bananas for them. They absolutely love puzzle caches. So I guess you would have to work with the area you have with that. Now, a lot of go ahead.
I was just going to say it's definitely a regional thing. You know, the amount of puzzles that are out and the type of puzzles that are out are definitely regional. You know, in areas like San Francisco where you have a lot of computer people, you're going to look for a lot more computer-based puzzles. And other areas that have, you know, a large population of someone like you were talking in the pre-show about the college, you know, if you have stuff that's being put out by someone who's working at a college, you can probably be assured that it's going to be whatever his major is. You know, whatever he's teaching about is the kind of puzzles that he's going to be putting out. So it really varies from community to community and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Now, this actually is being brought up a lot in the chat room tonight. A lot of them are saying things like, I like puzzle caches, and please, for folks out there, I'm the exact agreement with this. I like puzzle caches that the average person can figure out. When you are putting puzzles together in an area and you're trying to figure out the semantics of it, how do you figure out the level of difficulty for that puzzle cache?
Well, I mean, that's the other thing that you have to think about when you're asking yourself, why am I putting out this puzzle? You know, if you're, and this is totally my opinion, and I know other people have differing opinions on this, but
we give our opinions all the time. Go ahead.
If you're just putting out a puzzle basically to torment your local cachers, or, you know, to have that chip on your shoulder of, you know, I have the cache that's been unfound for the longest amount of time in town, that's not the right reason.
Yeah.
Right.
I really kind of dislike that sort of thinking of, you know, there's a place for hard puzzles, but anybody in the world can create an impossible puzzle.
Yes.
You know, if I were to, I could create a puzzle right now where the 10 digits of the coordinates are the length of my fingers in centimeters. But unless you can come and find me, you're never going to be able to solve that. You know, it's literally an impossible puzzle.
Yeah, the infamous Hobbit, what's in my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, they mentioned in the chat room
Read my
there was
mind.
one cache. Yeah, exactly. There was one cache that was called "Read My Mind," that had never been found, never been solved.
And
really?
There are like caches out in the world that are purposefully hard, and they have their place. You know, there was a cache in Florida that was a chatbot. You know, where you had to go online and talk to the computer program and ask it questions, and it would eventually tell you the coordinates. And that went unfound for, I think, 8 years.
Wow.
Before the first find on that. Because it was just you know, you had to hit on the right sequence of questions to ask the chatbot in order to get past it. And it actually just got found a couple of months ago, and the CO immediately archived it as soon as it was found. He got that first to find on it, and he was satisfied, so they logged it, he archived it, it was done.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Well, somebody just said, you know, puzzles should be fun and not painful, and I think that's absolutely true with any geocache.
I think because there's such, you run the gamut on people and personalities when it comes to puzzle caches. You've got people out there that literally, if I can't figure this out in 10 minutes, the fun factor is gone and I'm not going to continue on.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you've got the other people that are like, I want the challenge, bring it on.
Yes.
Well, there's a difference between a challenge and just...
And how do you differentiate that? You know,
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
But it depends on the person placing it. You know, and then you have the other side of it is, like, are you familiar with the crypto statue that stands outside of the CIA building? I think it's
I haven't heard that one.
Mm-mm.
So it's a statue it looks like a giant sort of folded piece of paper that has type on it, and it's out right outside the CIA building. And when the sculptor put it out there, he said, "Okay, there's 5 things encoded in this."
Go.
And it's been out there for I think 20 years now, and it's still unsolved. Like they've solved 3 of the 5 codes that are embedded into that statue, and that's the CIA. So you know, there's room in the world for really hard puzzles, but there's also room in the world for some fun stuff. You know, my personal philosophy is for every 5-star puzzle I put out, I try to put out a 2-star.
There you go.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
To balance things a little bit.
Yeah.
But there is also the point that what I consider a 2-star, I get a lot of visitors telling me that, well, back in wherever, Georgia or wherever, this wouldn't be considered a 2-star. This would be considered a 4-star, whatever. So it has to do with your experience and what you have.
Yeah.
I don't think you can please anybody, so it's like just put them out and hope for the people that are going to like it and love it and go for it is going to be great. The people that are going to go, I can't do this, and you can go do something anatomically incorrect, they'll go do something else.
Yeah.
So
well, you're not going to please everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I also compare it to tree climbing caches or rock climbing caches or kayaking caches. You know, not everybody is going to climb a tree. Not everybody is going to crawl on their hands and knees through a concrete tube for 100 yards to get to a cache. But there's plenty of those caches out there.
Oh, yeah.
So
people do it.
There just comes a time where you have to click that ignore button and move on with your life.
If you build it, they will come. They may not be happy, but they will come. That's great.
So one of the things that the next thing that I would ask you to think about is, we've sort of talked about it, which comes first, the puzzle or the location. This is a location-based game after all, so the idea is to get someone to a location at some points. And a lot of times the location comes first. You are just in that place, you see the perfect spot to put a cache, and you take those coordinates down and figure out how the puzzle works around that. Then there's also the other side of it, though, where sometimes certain puzzles only work with certain coordinates. And so you have to figure out the puzzle first and then go out into the world and figure out, okay, now where can I put this? If you're doing something that's like where you're limiting the number of digits that you can use, where you say, okay, I have 10 digits in the chords, I'm only going to use 0 through 9, and I'm only going to use each one once. Mm-hmm. That limits where you can place things. So
what's the odds where you're going to find it's going to match? Does that happen where it just isn't going to work? You're going to have to adjust it?
Well, I mean, there are puzzle. I have another folder of puzzle ideas that I can't figure out how to make them work. I do have a selection of puzzles that I just can't figure out how to get them out into the world. They're, it's like a writer with books. There's ideas percolating in there that may not ever make it to the page, but someday I'll figure out how to make this other people think in the way that I'm thinking so that I can put that puzzle out. But it hasn't happened yet. So, are you driving someone to a particular location, or is the location driving the puzzle? That's an important thing to think about. And the big thing a lot of people ask me is, where do the puzzle ideas come from? What are you picking? Where are you getting this information from? And again, we've talked a little bit about this. It can come from anywhere, like the piece of artwork that I borrowed the idea from. I've gotten another great puzzle idea from reading a magazine in the dentist's office. It was an old copy of Smithsonian, and it had an article about Gerald Ford and a scrap of paper that they found in the Gerald Ford library that nobody could read, that it was in code, and it took the Gerald Ford library several decades to figure out what this code was. And I saw that and was like, oh, well, I can take that code, and now that it's public knowledge, and I can create a puzzle out of that. So it literally popped out of reading something in a library or in the dentist's office.
Wow.
Do you ever get ideas for puzzle caches out of your theater?
I haven't really haven't had that crossover yet. I do a lot of creation of the containers that comes out of theatrical stuff, because I do a lot of painting and creation of the props and that sort of thing. So some of the containers have come out of that, but no puzzles yet. I've done some. I've done some puzzles that my theatrical knowledge came very handy to figure out. Some things where I looked at a page and was like, these are all lines from Shakespeare. Let me figure out what plays these are. So it's come in handy a couple of times, but not quite. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So then once you have your idea and once you sort of figured out what that puzzle is and created it, this is the big thing. This is the thing that if I can get anyone, puzzle creators in the world will listen to any piece of advice that I will give them, it is this. Beta test the puzzle. Send it to someone else to do the puzzle before you put it out into the world.
Yes.
You will learn so many things. I've had people who have beta tested for me who have gone off on complete tangents just based on a single word that I had in the description that I didn't even think would connect to anything, and they found some connection online that connected to some other thing on the page and went off on this tangent and were convinced that it was about this, and I was like, I've never even heard of that. I don't know why it would be. Why would you think I would write a puzzle about that?
Are there certain key words that you have to really kind of be semi-conscious about when you do word out a puzzle cache, because certain keywords, other people will just suddenly take that 90-degree left turn and go that way?
I mean, there are some. Like anything, if you're like accidentally using the name of a cipher, if you keep mentioning bacon on your page a lot of people are going to associate this with the bacon cipher or a pigpen cipher. That's two different ways that you could spin out the word bacon. But if you're really talking about something else entirely and just happen to really like bacon, so you're talking about bacon a lot, you might need to be aware that that's probably going to make people think you're talking about something else.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Which, in a way, is kind of its own sort of puzzle solving. You have to think ahead of how are people going to approach this? How are people going to look at this page? If you can't find anybody to beta test it for you, my other piece of advice is if you're just going to try to work it through yourself and come in from, try to approach it as if you had never heard of any of this before and whatever. Something that not a lot of people realize is that Google, especially, tracks everything that you do online. So if you are logged into a Google account of any type, whether it's Circles or Gmail or a GChat window or anything like that, and you Google something at the same time, Google associates your name with the thing that you just Googled. So when you go back and Google it a second time, it's going to automatically give you the thing you clicked on the first time you Googled it will be higher in your results. Yeah. So your Googling of something will look very different than my Googling of something because I don't have that association. I've never clicked on that website before, so it didn't move it to the top of the list for me. So when you're beta testing, log out of everything. Or if you're a Chrome user, use one of those incognito windows.
Absolutely, I was just going to suggest
all of that stuff. So that way at least you're seeing it the way the rest of the world is going to see it. And hopefully you'll get around some of that problem.
That's awesome. And a lot of people wouldn't even think twice about it.
Yeah, it's a thing that you don't really think about. It's a thing that you don't consider when you're creating something like that. But you really have to think about how you're expecting your solver to approach things. How are you expecting someone who's looking at this cache to figure it out? And that will help you figure out what the logical progressions are in the cache. How am I supposed to leap from, okay, everything that you have listed is classical composers. Great. Now, what information do you want me to get out of that?
Right.
Their birthday, their age at death, what country they were born in. There's a million different things that you can get out of that sort of list. So give your solver some hints as to where you want them to go next. Like, okay, you figured this part out, now make your association with these hints that I've thrown in here so that we can hopefully take it out of mind reading and put it into something that somebody else can follow along with.
That's awesome. And again, it all deals down with how level of difficulty you want to do to how much hint you can give to help them along. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when you do this, how do you put everything together, and actually round all the kittens and get them together
that's hard.
and make it into the puzzle that you want?
Well, I mean, there's a whole process that goes into publishing any cache, that getting your coordinates right, making sure that everything's been checked and double checked and all of that sort of thing, making sure that the cache is actually in place. That's a big one that a lot of people seem to overlook. But it's then basically just the same as creating the page, getting that information onto the page and getting it ready, getting it out there. I don't know if there's anything that's particularly special about creating a puzzle cache page that would make it different than creating a regular page, other than putting in that additional waypoint,
right,
which hopefully people know how to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's
great.
the big one.
Okay, sounds good. We're starting to run a little bit on the time. You had some of the stuff on here that I was interested in as well. How to actually write the hint. What kind of stuff that you use with that for puzzles?
I try to, when I put out a puzzle cache, I try to have 2 hints, so that there's a hint for the puzzle and a hint for the hide, because a lot of people are going to look at that, and try to see, and if you're not sure what it's applying to, I have had people who have emailed me back, and this is one of those going off on tangent things, have looked at my hint for the hide and have been convinced that it had something to do with the puzzle, and we're trying to solve it from that direction. So get that hint into the hint section. What I really more meant in that was having some hints in your list, in your description. For instance, I just was working on a puzzle just a couple of days ago that seemed to be about elements, like from the periodic table. Mm-hmm. And most of the times when you have a puzzle that's about elements, it's just the atomic number. That's the standard thing. If you see a bunch of elements, go get the atomic numbers. That's what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And I was doing that, and it wasn't working. It kept bouncing off the geochecker, and it kept saying no, and I could not, for the life of me, figure out why. What was this? Why was this not working? And I eventually figured out that it wasn't about the atomic number. He wanted the number of neutrons in each element.
Oh, and how are you going to know
that?
Which, is fine. That's a perfectly legitimate puzzle. But there was nothing on the page that would have told me that. There was absolutely nothing. I had to backdoor into it and figure out, oh, it has to be an 8, so what else about oxygen besides the atomic number can be 8? And had to back into the puzzle, and eventually I figured out, oh, it's the number of neutrons. Okay, fine, that makes it work.
Wow.
But
wow,
there are ways that you could have hinted at. You could have, for instance, put the word neutral in the title.
Yes.
It's not the word neutron, so you're not giving it away, but it's a closely associated word. So
just
that at
enough
least
to get
it
that.
Sort of plants that little seed. Right, yeah. Just a little bit of a seed that gives them something to think about. It's closely associated words, or words that will, like the bacon cipher that I mentioned before, mentioning breakfast a lot, or mentioning pigs a lot, or something, that will make people start thinking, oh, bacon, breakfast, okay, I can make something out of that. I can go somewhere with that. Mm-hmm. And you can have... I like to call those breadcrumbs. You can have breadcrumbs like that all through your description that will hopefully give your solver something to latch onto, so that they can stop reading your mind. You actually have to put your mind on the paper so that they can see that.
That's
really.
That is excellent. All right, well, that's great, Cully. Thank you so much. This was great. I love talking about puzzle caches. Hopefully, we can have you on sometime down the road and get more into it, because you can never tire of learning about puzzle caches.
It's a big subject.
It is a big subject. Just
it really is.
Let me throw you completely under the bus on this. Are you working on your next book for this, or any plans for a puzzle too?
I'm working on a couple of different things. I do have outlines for a sequel that would be basically placement rather than how it's solving. So I had that outline, which is sort of what I moved over into the show notes so that I could talk about it a little bit. So you can consider this my beta test for a potential book. And I'm actually also working on a novel, like a fiction piece about geocaching.
Wow.
So that may be the actual next thing out of the gate after I finish converting the puzzle book into Kindle. That's probably the next thing that's going to get released is the novel, because it's in the editing phase right now. So.
Awesome.
You're very busy.
Well, just keep us in the loop on this, because we'll definitely help you promote all that, because that's awesome stuff. That is great.
Yeah.
I love authors and everything that they do to get the content out.
That's not easy to do.
All right, sir. Well, why don't we give one more plug for the book and how people can get in touch with it, and then we're going to move on with the show.
Okay. Best thing is just go to howtopuzzlecache.com. All one word. You get to the front page there. There's a big button that says Get the Book. Click there. It'll take you right to the order page. You don't have to worry about anything else. You can get the spiral-bound edition there directly from me, or you can get the regular paperback-bound edition. Keep a watch on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/howtopuzzlecache. I routinely post coupons for the book on the Facebook page, so every once in a while there'll be a 10% or 20% discount that'll float through. So if you're looking to save a little bit of money, come to the Facebook page. You can find that. I post them whenever they're available. I'm not in control of that. The company's in control of that. But when they post them, I put them up. And we also have a good time on the Facebook page. I have a weekly puzzle that gets posted on Monday, and the answers get posted on Tuesday. And then on Fridays, I post a puzzle-solving resource that can be found on the web somewhere.
That is amazing. Well,
so you
Cully,
can have that in your back pocket.
That is awesome. We're going to be checking that out. And we'll put all the links to that in our show notes. Just go over to GeoSnippitsReboot.com and episode 127, and we'll have all that there for you. Fine stuff. All right, Cully, thank you so much for being on the show. We greatly appreciate it. And, again,
no problem.
We can't wait to have you on next time. That's great.
I look forward to it.
All right,
please
guys.
tell your cat we're sorry we delayed dinner.
Yes. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, guys, time to move on. That was excellent. Thank you so much again. Let's move on.
Your support helps keep all of the GeoSnippits Reboot shows running along. Please consider making a PayPal donation through the link on our website to support our efforts and your ongoing entertainment. From all of us at GeoSnippits, we thank you.
Absolutely. And, hey, please consider becoming a Patreon for our show, a patron, too. You go through Patreon to be a patron, to be a contributing factor for our show so that we can keep this fun stuff going. And that's how that works.
And speech lessons for him.
And speech lessons for me, because the dentures keep coming out. I'm just saying. So, yes, please consider becoming a patron. Just go to any one of our websites, and you will see a Sponsor Me on Patreon graphic. Click on that, and we have a whole host of rewards. We've got path tags, we've got hangouts, we've got pre-show podcasts, we've got all sorts of different things. You actually even get extra bonuses on contests that we do as well. Yes, you do. Sometimes you get those extra entries so that you can win those cool prizes we give away as well. So go on there, click on it. It's only $1 a week. It's for how long that you want to do that. If you do it all year, you get a nested of all the different rewards that we have. If it's only for half a year, you get those rewards, and whatever nested goes with that as well. We've got some cool stuff coming. We got a new patch that is coming from coinsandpins.com.
Surprises everywhere.
So that'll be included.
It surprises even me.
It does, because she never attends the meetings. I'm just saying. So that's how that goes. But please consider becoming a patron. We greatly appreciate it, and thank you for the patrons that are already there. Literally helps keep the lights on.
Yes.
Let's move on. All right. It's time for the GeoSnippits Geocaching Cache Dash. Let me explain what that is. We have some of the best companies in the geocaching world, and quite frankly, they want to tell you fine folks about the products that they provide. So what they do is they send these little goodie care packages to us with some of those products, and we take them and we turn them into prizes that we give away to you each and every week. And we have doozies over the past couple of weeks that have gone out. Last week is no exception. And wife Amy, why don't you tell them about episode 126 from last week?
That was a good episode.
That was a good episode.
From coinsandpins.com, it's a grab bag that you put in that handy dandy Ziploc bag. It's Right in the Rain logs and a Cache Angel geocoin.
Yes, provided by you, and I know this is the most important part, a sandwich baggie provided by us, so that we keep everything nice and neat together. And we've got some Right in the Rain logbooks.
Actually, not Ziploc. It's Glad.
It's
whatever.
Glad. Whatever. Hey, if they can be a sponsor, they can call whatever they want. And we have really a beautiful from coinsandpins.com a Angel geocoin.
Yes.
These are beautiful, and that's all together for this week's show.
Be yours for
Can I have my Glad bag, please?
low price.
For free.
The question was,
Yes.
What does the geocache attribute that has L and F on it mean?
Yes.
And that is Lost and Found Tour.
Yes, if you look at the list of attributes, there's one on there that has L and F on it. And what did it mean? Well, it means Lost and Found Tour. So what we do is we get all the different emails that get sent to us for the show, and we total them up. And I have right here a random number generator that has a number 1 to all of the correct total answers that we've had. I press the number, and it gives me, let's say, 4. It's not 4. But if it was 4, we also have, as wife Amy tries to not lose the geocoin, a magic geocoin, we also have a list of all the correct answers. So say, for example, she flips her magic geocoin and it's heads, and the random number is 4. We count 1, 2, 3, 4 down from the top of the list, and that is our winner. If it's tails, we count up from the list 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is our winner. It just gives a little bit of randomness to the show and makes it just that much more interesting. Wife Amy, are we going from the top down or from the tails up?
Tails.
Of course you would. All right.
I cannot help it. The magic coin says.
The magic coin says. So let me get down to the bottom of the list.
Cannot dispute the magic coin.
You can't?
No.
All right. Let's see. We have a winner, and let me see if I can let the thank you, Lollypoop, for giving us such a great operating system. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. It is correct.
Who is it?
And the winner is, as I put this down, I just want to read all the stuff that we have here. Robin and Mark Phillips. Your caching name is Robin, June, and Hub. And they're out of Salem, Massachusetts. I don't think they've ever won before, so congratulations.
Let me see.
Right there to Robin and Mark Phillips, Robin, June, and Hub from Salem, Massachusetts. Congratulations for winning that coinsandpins.com grab bag. That's really, really cool.
Awesome.
Awesome stuff. So you might say to yourself, well, wait a minute. Not only do they give away cool prizes, they give cool prizes away each week. I want to get in on this. How do I win cool prizes? Well, it's really, really simple. For you to be eligible to win a prize from the Cache Dash, all you have to do is, 1, you have to send in a correct answer. You got to be in it to win it. I didn't win this week. You didn't put your entry in. I'm just saying, get those entries in. All correct answers must be in for this episode 127 by September 9th. That's next Wednesday. Email it to, and I'm going to actually bring up here for the bottom third here. There we go, so people can actually see it. There we go. I had it. There we go. Email to GSReboot. That's GSREBOOT @gmail.com. Subject line Q1 for question 1. And episode 127. That's for this episode. Email it to gsreboot@gmail.com. All correct answers will be put in a drawing just like you saw. Some weeks for the people in the live chat room, we also have a second prize that we give away right then, right there. Sorry, folks, not this week. We do it at least once a month and should be coming up pretty soon. I mean, we're already in, the first week of September.
It's already the first week.
Might have a little range there. I'm just saying. So sometime this month we're going to be giving it away. It's just not.
It's gone so quickly.
This week. Wow, it's the 3rd already. So that's how that works. Not tonight, but sometime in the next couple of weeks we will be giving away live.
Goodness.
Gets a little incentive for you fine folks to come and see the show live. All right, but for the people that want to get into question 127, what is the prize for this week?
All right, the prize is pretty cool.
It's
is
awesome.
from coinsandpins.com, the 2014 Compass Rose Geocoin Fortune. Red with gold.
Last one, folks.
You cannot purchase these.
You can't get these anymore.
Mm-mm.
And this is the 2014 Geocoin for the Rose, for the Compass Rose Geocoin. And this is gorgeous. It has got a red enamel. Mm-hmm. It has an oriental theme to it. It's got beautiful polished gold for the outside of it. The back of it has a tiger in the jungle with some different symbols on it. It is a beautiful coin, masterful coin from coinsandpins.com.
I don't think I have those.
You have a dark one.
Oh, I do have a dark one. I don't have that one.
Not this one. This is beautiful and red, and I love this. This is the prize for this week.
I have to talk to Aaron.
What is the question for the fine folks so they can win this?
Question is, the front of the Geo Woodstock 13 Geocoin is the letters GWXIII. What is the word directly below those letters?
Okay, you're going to have to do some research on this one. So, on the front of the actual Geo Woodstock 13 Geocoin has the letters GWXIII for Geo Woodstock 13. There is a word directly below that.
What is it?
What's the word? So that's what it is. Send in your answers to gsreboot@gmail.com and see what goes on with that fun stuff. All right, good stuff, and we shall move on.
Tink.
Yeah, there we go. All right, let's wrap this puppy up. Let us know what you think about the show. If you enjoyed all this good stuff that we had from Cully and more information about puzzles, personally, I want them back on because I love learning more about puzzles. Good stuff.
You look like Charlie Chaplin when you did that.
Thank you very much. And that's Groucho Marx. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
See, I'm just saying.
Sorry.
Anywho,
Sorry,
so
Groucho.
let us know what you think about the show.
He's
and if
dead,
you've
but
got
whatever.
comments or questions or things that you want to have that the next time we have Cully on, just email us to gsreboot@gmail.com, and we will save them up and send them to them. And if there's that many of them, we'll send it to them early and correspond them back to you. So anyways, let us know what you think about the show. Let us know what you want for future shows. And we'll do that as well. We love hearing from you fine folks, and it's always great communicating with you. Please consider becoming a patron, a contributing factor for our show. And also, please tell others about the GeoSnippits Reboot Podcast so they can come in and get into this wonderful mix that we know as geocaching each and every week.
This great circuit.
This great GeoSnippits Reboot Podcast universe.
Circus.
Whatever. Anyway, so thank you so much. Tell them to come aboard and join the train, and we'll go from there. All right.
We want to thank our sponsors, cash-events.com and coinsandpins.com. Want to thank HeadHardHat Smith. Want to thank everyone watching in our chat room. Please keep those comments coming in, y'all, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah, please. No sad Amy. Get some more comments and feedback in. So she likes talking about that kind of stuff, even with the youngest geocacher on the planet.
I know, he was so cute.
Just saying. So anyways, thank you to wife Amy for everything she did. Thank you to Cully Long for being our special guest this week.
Yay, Cully!
Awesome stuff. We'll see you next week, Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, for another spine-tingling, mystery-filled GeoSnippits Reboot Podcast.
Podcast are you watching?
I don't know. Anyways, see you out on trails, folks. Bye-bye. Please be sure to join us each and every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time for another episode of the GeoSnippits Reboot Podcast, right here on the GeoSnippits website at www.geosnippits.com. The video version of our show is available on YouTube, and the audio version is available on iTunes, Stitcher, Blueberry, the Tech Podcast Network, and many of your favorite podcasters. We love hearing from our viewers and listeners, so please leave your feedback by emailing us at gsreboot@gmail.com, visit us through our social media sites, or contact us via our voicemail line at 919-341-9519, or use our website's Send Voicemail tab. GeoSnippits Reboot is a HeadHardHat production and is produced by Amy and Andy Smith. This show is copyright 2015 by Andrew T. Smith. All rights reserved. And clear. And at no time does that mimicking bother me. I'm just saying. Thank you, folks, for stopping on by. We hope you enjoyed the show. This was really good. I know we ran a little long, but hey, when you got a good guest and you got good content, that's all part of the fun. Have a great one. Have a safe one. And we will see you next week on the GeoSnippits Reboot Podcast. Bye-bye, folks.